Holy shit!
They're not slowing down, not even close. Top Gun 3 is officially happening, and now director Joseph Kosinski has finally dropped the first real update. It's not just hype, it's something deeper, something heavier. Let's start with the obvious. Yes, Tom Cruise is back. The man who made Maverick a cinematic icon is strapping in for one last ride. Kosinski says it clearly, Maverick will remain the heart of Top Gun 3. He's not taking the back seat, he's not handing over the torch just yet, but this time, it's personal. In a new interview, Kosinski teased that the movie will explore a major existential crisis for Maverick. That's the word he used, existential. It's not about flying faster or dodging missiles this time. It's about something that shakes Maverick from the inside, something that makes him feel small. Now that's a twist. Because let's face it, Maverick has never been small. He's always been the guy who breaks the rules, defies the odds, and saves the day when no one else can. He's the alpha pilot, the legend, but this next chapter will make him question all of that. And Kosinski isn't joking around. He calls it bigger than him, a kind of threat or idea that makes Maverick feel powerless. That's not something we've seen before, not even in Top Gun Maverick. Let's rewind for a second. Top Gun Maverick was a blockbuster. Critics loved it, audiences cried over Iceman, it made nearly $1.5 billion, and it proved that Top Gun still had fuel in the tank. But it also showed cracks in Maverick's armor. We saw him clinging to a past that's slipping away. We saw his grief, his fear, his love for Iceman. And then we saw him do what he does best, pull off the impossible. But now, Iceman's gone, and Maverick's left with a sky full of drones, bureaucrats, and newer, younger pilots. Maybe this existential crisis is about that. Maybe it's about Maverick finally asking the one question he's never wanted to face: what happens when the world no longer needs him? And that hits hard, especially for fans who grew up idolizing him, because we know that feeling too, that fear of becoming irrelevant, of fading away. Kosinski hints that this could be Maverick's last mission. He says there's one last ride in the works. That doesn't mean the franchise ends here. In fact, it probably won't. Rooster, Hangman, and the rest of the new class are clearly being set up to carry the torch. But for Cruise, this might be it. And honestly, that feels right. Cruise is 62 now, and while he still looks like he drinks jet fuel for breakfast, there's only so long you can play a daredevil fighter pilot before the story stops making sense. Ending Maverick's journey with meaning, emotion, and weight? That's the smart move. Especially if the film handles it with the same care as Top Gun Maverick. So Tom Cruise is definitely in. So are Miles Teller and Glenn Powell. That triangle is solid. But the moment the studio announced Top Gun 3, fans didn't just cheer. They asked, what about the others? That's when things got complicated. Let's go back a bit. Top Gun Maverick didn't waste time on fluff. It knew exactly where to aim. The story zeroed in on the strained relationship between Maverick and Rooster. Cruise and Teller carried the emotional weight, and it worked. Their scenes, tense, vulnerable, sometimes even silent, kept the film grounded while the jets roared overhead. And then there was Hangman. Glenn Powell didn't just play a cocky pilot. He walked into the room like the new Iceman, brought swagger, friction, and finally, redemption. His last-minute save wasn't just a heroic move, it was the final beat in a well-played arc. Audiences loved him, Hollywood took note. But outside that trio, things got shaky. Monica Barbaro's Phoenix was sharp, confident, and cool under pressure. Louis Pullman's Bob had calm intelligence. Danny Ramirez's Fanboy had loyalty and grit. They all clicked. But let's be real, they were background noise compared to the leads. They didn't get full arcs. They didn't get closure. They flew missions, cracked a few jokes, and faded behind the spotlight. That imbalance didn't bother people much then. Everyone was caught in the nostalgia and spectacle. But now, it matters. Because the second you start talking about a Top Gun 3, the expectations shift. Fans want more. They don't just want another mission. They want payoff. They want Phoenix's story, Bob's backstory, Fanboy's future. And here's the catch. Those actors aren't where they were in 2022. Since Maverick, Glenn Powell's blown up. He's headlined rom-coms, nailed prestige projects, and is about to lead an Edgar Wright action film. Louis Pullman is the Sentry in the MCU. Monica Barbaro has an Oscar nomination. Danny Ramirez is literally Falcon now. These aren't promising newcomers anymore. They're stars. And stars come with schedules, contracts, and expectations. So now what? Let's say Top Gun 3 pulls off the impossible. Let's say it gets everyone back. That's only half the fight. The real problem is screen time. How do you give all these characters a reason to be there without making the movie feel bloated? You can't just have Phoenix in the background again. That won't cut it. Audiences know she can carry drama now. You can't reduce Bob to the quiet tech guy. You can't give Hangman a second redemption arc. These actors have evolved, and the script has to evolve with them. That's the tightrope Top Gun 3 is walking. Bigger cast, bigger stars, bigger expectations, and somehow it still has to feel focused. Joseph Kosinski nailed the impossible once, but now he has to do it again, with a cast that's not just older, but busier, more famous, and more demanding of purpose. This isn't about screen time anymore, it's about meaning. Every pilot has to matter. Every arc has to count. On the other hand, the emotional scenes in that film were surprisingly powerful. Iceman's quiet goodbye, still one of the most heartbreaking moments in any recent blockbuster, and they didn't overdo it. They let silence speak. They let Cruise act. If Top Gun 3 follows that tone, if it dares to show Maverick as vulnerable, scared, and finally at peace, it could be the most meaningful film in the series. We're not just talking about action anymore, we're talking about legacy. Joseph Kosinski didn't plan on returning right away. After Maverick, even he felt like that was the final note. But then came the idea, the kind you lose sleep over, the kind you can't unsee. He spent a whole year shaping it, with help from Navy insiders and Lockheed engineers. Kosinski says the script is still being written by Aaron Kruger, the guy behind F1. That means they're not rushing it. They're taking their time, making sure the story is strong enough before putting Cruise back in the cockpit. What do you think Maverick's final mission will be? Stay locked in, this story's just getting started.